And so this next column here is showing you the design depth to top, which is basically the depth that you want to be bobbing to in the hole to know when to cut off the product. So in this case, because we have 2 meters of stemming and this deck of ANFO comes right up to the bottom of that 2 meters of stemming, the depth to the top of this deck is 2 meters. This is a useful one to have if, for example, we still had that heavy toe in one of our holes. It would tell us what the depth is to the top of that toe deck, so we know when to cut off the product. And again, we have a field here that you can manually write in to record the actual depth to top that you had on each hole. As I scroll down, you can see that everything's basically the same for the other rows in the same format. And up the top right here, as with all the reports, you can choose the paper size. So in this case, we have it set to A4. But if you wanted to print these a bit bigger, for example, you can select A3 and it'll automatically scale everything for A3. You'd then download that PDF and then print that to bring into the field. The next thing that I'll show you is the loading rules report. And this report is basically a summary of all of the loading rules that you've used in the shot. So here we've got our test rules set being displayed because that's what we've used in this shot. It shows us the template for rule A and rule B. And this can be useful to have in the field so that if you do encounter a hole that is different from design, you know how to load it. So in this simple case, say you found another hole that was at an angle that you didn't expect to be at an angle, you could then refer to this quickly to know how that hole should be loaded. The final report that I'll show in the loading module is the loading usage report. And this report is used for really knowing how much inventory you need to pull from your magazine. So over on the left, we've got a list of the bulk products that are used and the stemming in the shot. And it shows us the volume of stemming and the mass of the explosive products that we need to bring with us. And this can be helpful for working out how many trucks you need to bring or which trucks you need to bring, for example. Here in the middle, we've got boosters. It'll show you the quantity of boosters of each type being used in the shot. And on the right, the in-hole detonators. And here, this is split by length as well. So you can see that some of our holes are a bit longer, and so they've asked for a bit longer lead. Obviously, in reality, if you wanted to, you could just say, all right, well, this means we need to bring all 20s and just bring all 20-meter leads. The other thing I'll come back to is that when you've done the timing, you'll also have, if you're using surface initiators or anything like that, that'll also appear on this report in another box as well. Great, so that's the loading design module summary. The thing that I mentioned at the beginning that I said I'd come back to was the site product list. So the first time that you go to set up a site, what we've done is basically preloaded all the products that we could find into a database that we then allow you to choose from, so that you don't need to enter your own product details. They're just all there. Don't have any issues with different sites labeling something slightly differently. It's all standardized and in the same system. And the way that you choose your products for the list here is by clicking the little plus sign, selecting a brand, and then using these checkboxes over here to identify which of the products you want in your in your shortlist. So basically, I've just set it up here with all the AEL gear at the moment. What it's doing is pulling in, say for my bulk and packaged explosives, the ANFO, all of their emulsion products as well. If I, for this particular site, knew that I only used ANFO, for example, I can uncheck all these ones. But for now, I've just left them all in there. If I, for example, wanted to use two brands or different brands for electronic initiation, I can do that just by choosing another brand from the list down here. And it'll add that to my list. So you're not restricted with only having one brand per site, for example. So the best way to set this up at the beginning is to click these plus signs and add all of your products after making sure that you've selected the region that you're in as well. Great. So thanks for listening to this part of the tutorial. I'll pause here because it's the end of the loading module, and I'll come back in a second with a different video for the timing module.